Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where I have something super special for you. I'm going to be remaking my very first car ever in Stormworks, the GTC G1. Now you see it here behind me, and if you know anything about kind of how I started, obviously I started building ships and that type of thing, and then made my way into vehicles. And with vehicles, I thought, okay, Stormworks boxy, and I'm gonna do something like the Hummer H1. Now, granted, because it was the very first thing I made, there was a lot of learning curves to be had, and with that, I'm gonna explain here in this video as we build the GTC G1. The GTC G1 is a simple vehicle, pretty boxy, pretty square. Obviously, it has some equipment back here, a little tailgate. It is comparatively smaller than my truck series, which I made at the time, which was the GTC Siege, which ended up becoming the Buckle Rodeo. In here, it has some displays, kind of uneven. Ignition, we start it up, we do get a nice little intro screen, and then here we have a manual transmission, 4 gears, and reverse, and of course speedometer, GPS right here. We can turn on a rear-wheel drive, we can turn on low gear mode, heater, beacon locator, and that's pretty much it. Here we have headlights, roof lights, courtesy lights, cargo lights, and there are 3 seats in the back. So, on the exterior, a simple vehicle, nothing too crazy about it, and of course if you've noticed, the actual controls in the corner on the bottom left don't include the headlights and honk and stuff that I added later. So here you turn on your headlights, here you turn on your roof lights. I'm not quite sure why the ones above the windshield aren't working, but there you have it. Those are all the lights kind of on this vehicle. Now it drives very simplistically, or simply. So handbrake, all there is a little sound if you're trying to press. And here we're off. Now, granted, it does work pretty well. Like, I can't really complain as to the function of the thing. Even being my first ever car, I'd still say it was very good off-road. Decent in towing. Like, it kind of is the full package for something quite simple. And it works. So I'm not really complaining. In fact, I'm trying to live up to its standard in doing kind of the remake, but you could kind of get a feel for the styling. Yes, it is heavily influenced by the Hummer H1. Like you could see here, the little design cues and stuff, and I tried to get away from that. I want to get away from that in making this remake. You could see here, it was posted in May 2021 and updated the following year, April 2022. Since then, I've not touched it, and for good reason. A lot of my styling has changed, a lot of my abilities and microcontrollers have changed, but this thing still works. It still gets the job done. It's quite a good looking vehicle in my opinion, and it is quite functional and well-rounded. So we're going to try to live up to this vehicle and see if we can make something that is worthwhile in our new version. Which leads me here to this shell that I've made. So first things first, I gutted the whole thing. You can see inside there's nothing. It's fully gutted, fully cleared out. All the electronics are taken out. Everything is removed. This is going to be the basis of this vehicle. And even this roof rack, we're going to probably remake it in a different way. Even the antenna, even these lights. I don't want a lot of things to come through. The front fascia we're going to change up for sure. Now, one thing you've noticed I've done is added a body for the hood. It's going to flip open on the front, kind of like the actual H1. So we're going to do that. We're not even going to keep these lights. I want it to be a modular engine this time. Previously in this version, we have, first of all, a hood that doesn't open. Second of all, it's this pre-made engine, because that's all that was available at the time. Here you can really get a feel for the size difference in comparison to the Rodeo and the GTC G1. It is much shorter. What I also did is shortened up the wheelbase. I didn't like previously how the wheels on the original version were very close to the rear. You see here the wheel pretty much goes to the back bumper, so it gives it a larger wheel distance here, or wheelbase. So I wanted to make it a little shorter to first of all look more like the real Hummer, but also it is better off-road in this case. The wheels are closer together, so you can kind of pivot around better. I added this kind of nice looking side skirt. The other one was just a little too boxy all there. And I have, in this case now, added a motor. So you can see I made a brand new motor. So we got an 8-cylinder engine here, and it fits quite nicely. So I didn't have to reconfigure the interior. Obviously, I did take the parts from the Rodeo, which I'm going to now develop into the GTC version. I wanted to have my latest tech. One other thing that I didn't really like with the other version of the G1 is just how far the seat was. That's one of those things that as you kind of, like, it looks like it's a seat pushed all the way back. Here's the column and even the seats back there. So yeah, it does give you a bit bigger of a dashboard. But again, because this thing is shorter than the Rodeo, it also can have a shorter dashboard. So I'm quite happy to not have the double length dashboard. Instead, the GTC G1 is going to be quite optimized. It's going to be all here. And when you look down here, there's the key. So it is kind of like the Saab style key in the center. But here you have everything that you do need. But first, we got to pull off all the microcontrollers. So I took my Rodeo here that someone thought was a mining equipment or something, and I actually pulled everything out of it. And there's not that many when you really think about it, but it's all kind of tied together, and we're gonna have to put it inside the GTC G1. Now there's a lot of space on the underside. I purposely did not put a single cube on the underside. We have this whole level and we have this whole level. So we got 2 levels to sandwich in all kinds of microcontrollers. You see here in yellow. So that's going to be the next step. But you can see that the interior now, even we got the mood lights, and that's kind of coming in quite nicely. Now I did pull in the Howdy for the reason that it is also kind of compact. It's not quite as small as the G1, but the Howdy does have even more of a compact engine, and it has some new microcontrollers that I want to implement in here, such as the backup camera with the lines and whatnot. But you can see kind of from the general shape, it still looks the same. I've not changed the front. I've not really changed the rear other than that top light. So there's still some reworking I have to do, but I am going to have a backup sensor. I am going to have the HGS system that I've developed for the trailers. So that will be very compatible with everything else. All the microcontrollers are in. All right. Let's fire it up for the first time. Uh-oh. Okay, well, something's not connected. I think now we're going to get some power, because previously it was revving up quite high. There we go. And we have our first time automatic transmission in the GTC G1, so this is fully new. We've never had an automatic transmission in this truck before. Also may need to reconfigure the steering just a little bit. I don't want a drift king here, but I do want something that can be quite stable as it goes into turns. You know, this isn't too bad. We are going like 100 kilometers an hour here, or 60 miles an hour for my American friends. All right. Cool. And that all led us to the final version that I'm showing here. Now, it's not quite final, but this is a bit of a reconfigured version. You could definitely see the facelift. Now, I do have a soft spot for the right side one. I do have to say, I do like the lights, how they're integrated into the grille. I do like the simplicity of it, but the left one, I don't think it could be argued, looks more modern. So that's kind of what I was going for. I could see some paint issues up there. That has to be matching the rest of that kind of stripe that we have on the original one. So I'm going to try to match that stripe going all the way down. But this one does look a little more futuristic, a little more spacey. It has the lights above the windshield here that are just kind of wide. If we jump to the back, the rear lights kind of I left them kind of the same, but modernized, just comparing them. The G1 is still there on both versions. This one has a backup camera here and the light is adjusted. So we'll see if we add a roof rack. Also, I have put equipment in the bed. There are no additional seats. This one does have some seats, so it could be argued that it's more functional, but 5 seats are still probably enough. And the nice thing is this one has a larger bed for cargo. So that said, let's turn it on and see what it looks like in here. So I've added kind of little details. We got the seats back here, very similar to the buckle. I've added some other styling elements around the place. So it fires up. Very good. If we turn on the mood lights, we get that, or not orange, got the red glow. And if we kick it into gear, we see that it works quite nicely. Now the front is probably the biggest difference from the original one, and you could see it has the lights kind of fog light mounted because I don't do the XML glitch, but it turns on the headlights that are mounted there when you do turn those lights on, so that's called headlights. And that is pretty much it. We have the winch, we have the horn, and we have kind of a vehicle that is now modernized that works with all of my new vehicles. And I'm not going to be removing the old one. I do think that it has certain merit, you know, being from 2001 or from 2021, sorry, but this one here is, I'd say, much better. Okay, so I've cleaned up some of the front. You can see that's painted now. If we pop open the hood, you're going to see it's a very nice looking hood in here, or nice looking engine. Supercharged, it's got the 8 cylinders, and I do love how that opens up. I don't have a hood that opens in that form yet, so this is the first time I've done that, obviously not counting the cab over trucks, but that is pretty much it. In the back, if we pop this open, you can see the gear and the light and all that good stuff. Now I could not resist making an Alta version of this truck, so here we have it. Now I am gonna let you in on a little secret that I've been talking about on my Discord server, and that is the Alta mining division. So this is the first look of the new mining division vehicle. We're going to do some other modifications to it, but this will kind of be what is used out in the minefield. The mine. And it works the exact same way as the other ones. This one does have a safety light, and this one does also have these roof spotlights, so you can use them for extra kind of lighting and power. And I could not resist a good facelift. I really could not. I had the GTC G1, and there was even people talking about it on my Discord server, just like what Chevy and GMC does, Cadillac, all that good stuff. They make facelifts. So while the GTC G1 will be kind of either the professional version, let's call it, the military version, or the more less consumer, even though it's still a consumer vehicle, the buckle variant is going to be our kind of bro truck. It's going to be like a pre-runner. It will be something that you buy, pick up, and take out off-roading. So it has a different rear, it has different lights, and it has a different interior, at least in terms of the buckle. Now lasso, for those of you who are not familiar with country and western type, it's just kind of what you put around your horse, cowboy things. And we see that we have the red engine that we have on some of our other buckle vehicles. Speed-wise, it is a little higher tune, so it does go a little faster from the get-go. And it does have these roof lights as well, so you can get some of that action while you're going out on the trail. Now, I'm not fully done with the rear. I do think I'm going to change it up a little bit, but you could see the lights are different here intentionally. This is supposed to be a vehicle that is more like a pre-runner or more like an off-road consumer truck, so it'll be quite nice to compare it with my other off-road vehicles. So there you have it. That is how I remade the GTC G1 into the new version and into the buckle lasso. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am very, very busy with life and things, so I'm not making as much content as creation as I usually do, but I do plan on giving you things every once in a while, so stay tuned for other creations, stay tuned for other content, and as always, happy Stormworksing, everyone.